By the late 1960s, the automotive world was dominated by steel, aluminum, and well-established engineering principles. At the same time, one man decided to completely break the rules and create a car that would be decades ahead of its time. That's how the Romanelli GT was born, an incredibly ambitious prototype that combined futuristic materials, racing technology, and immense power in a single machine. Although almost no one remembers it today, it was one of the most advanced cars of its era, and likely the first road-going vehicle to use composite materials on such a large scale. The creator of the project was Francesco Romanelli, an Italian engineer who pursued his dreams in Canada. He was not a typical constructor. His interests went far beyond just cars. Romanelli designed engines for a variety of applications, including Formula One cars and racing motorcycles. His deep understanding of powertrains allowed him to approach the GT project in a highly comprehensive way, from the chassis and aerodynamics to a completely original engine of his own design. The Romanelli GT was first publicly unveiled in 1970 at the Montreal Auto Show. It immediately attracted significant attention from both the media and potential investors. The car stood out not only because of its appearance, but more importantly, because of the technology it showcased. At a time when most manufacturers relied on traditional materials, Romanelli embraced composites, using advanced fibers for both the body and structural components. One of the most innovative aspects of the car was its composite bodywork. Today, such solutions are standard in supercars, but in the 1960s, this was absolutely revolutionary. The lightweight yet highly rigid structure significantly improved both performance and handling. It's fair to say that the Romanelli GT was ahead of cars like the Pontiac Fiero and many later models that would go on to use similar technologies. The drivetrain was equally advanced for its time. The engine was mounted in a rear mid-engine layout, ensuring optimal weight distribution. Additionally, the car featured a trans-axle system, with the gearbox and differential positioned at the rear axle. This setup was typically reserved for racing machines and was rarely seen in road cars. Complementing this was a fully independent suspension system on all four wheels, designed for maximum precision and control. The first version of the Romanelli GT was powered by a V8 engine sourced from Buick, which served as a temporary solution. From the very beginning, Romanelli intended to install his own engine, and he soon brought that vision to life. The car was fitted with a custom-built V12 engine with a displacement of 5.7 liters. This unit produced around 500 horsepower, an extremely impressive figure for that era. With that level of power, the Romanelli GT was expected to reach a top speed of approximately 320 kilometers per hour. These figures were comparable to, and in some cases exceeded, the most extreme sports cars in the world at the time. Combined with the car's low weight thanks to its composite construction, it offered potentially extraordinary performance that could have challenged the biggest manufacturers of the era. Stylistically, the Romanelli GT also stood out from the competition. Its body was low, wide, and highly aerodynamic. The design resembled racing prototypes, and its proportions clearly reflected the mid-engine layout. It was a car that looked like it came from the future, especially when compared to the more conservative designs of the late 1960s. Despite the strong interest, the project never moved forward. Romanelli showcased his car at various exhibitions across Canada and the United States, hoping to attract investors who would fund mass production. Unfortunately, despite the positive reception, he was unable to secure the necessary financial backing. As a result, the Romanelli GT remained just a prototype. Only a single example of this remarkable car was ever built, making it one of the rarest vehicles in automotive history. The lack of funding and the high costs associated with production ultimately brought the project to an end, despite its enormous potential. The price of the Romanelli GT at the time was never officially established, as the car was never offered for sale. However, it can be assumed that the cost of building it was extremely high, especially considering the use of advanced materials and a bespoke engine. In the context of the late 1960s, it was an exceptionally expensive and risky project. Today, the value of the Romanelli GT is nearly impossible to determine. As a one-of-a-kind prototype, a pioneer of composite technology, and the creation of an independent engineer, it could easily be worth millions of dollars at auction. It is not just a car, but a symbol of boldness and innovation, a reminder that even a single individual can create something that pushes decades ahead of its time.